I woke up very unhappy. Dude, I'm very scared. Scared. I was scared. I did not have fun watching the movie. I'm just like, man, goosebumps. Scared. I want to leave. I think in terms of scared, I was very scared. I'm scared.
Bing, bong. The proverbial subway doors have opened to the 11th ever episode of 2 Men and a Baby. And yes, folks, the bad boys of horror are back.
Just Will popping out of bed at 3 a.m. like, Lisa, I got a great intro idea. What if the subway doors open and I say bing bong?
I say bing bong. We're back, babies.
2 Men and a Baby, the horror movie review show where three best friends review a new horror movie every episode. I am your, with a gigantic capital H, host, William Dubbs. And as usual...
Oh, shit, he's leaning into it now.
As usual, I'm joined to my left by the talented musician and horror historian, Brendan Fletcher, and to my right by stand-up comedian and titular baby, Abbie Krinsky.
Titties.
I'm scared.
Today we're going to be talking about Alien Romulus, 2024, directed by Fede Alvarez, produced by Ridley Scott. It's been one of the year's most anticipated.
Will's been talking about this movie since we did the first episode. He was like, dude, there's another alien. And I was like, oh, another one. Great. And then, we'll get into it. But he was right. It was cool.
2 men and a baby, oh yeah. 2 men and a motherfucking baby.
I do think this is the first time none of us saw it together.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
one of us. Yeah.
We hate each other now.
I don't know if anybody had a good movie going experience.
Yeah, so
but-
I'll start with mine. I would like to hear all of us because I think that's a big thing we missed. So just a real quick recap. We did Trap last episode, and we all disliked it. I stand by that. I don't fight anybody that disagrees. But I do think that we missed a bit of an opportunity because everyone that I do respect that did tell me they enjoyed it, it was because the theater was packed and there was fun and laughter together. So I think looking back, I want to try to do that more, but I also hate crowds, so it's a bit of a catch-22. But for this one, I watched it at an Atlas Park, Queens. I had a late showing, about a 9:30 showing, and it wasn't packed, it wasn't dead, and it was such a Queens experience. There were like 5 dudes in the back row that were just like, before every preview would just go like, yo, you did that. No, you did it, yo. Whoa, shut up. And then there was like multiple children that should not have been in there. And not even like young enough children that they're like, oh, they won't remember it. Like the age where it was bad to see this movie.
Why were you in Queens?
Because it's the closest theater.
Where's Atlas Park? Where's that?
It's right next to Rego Park. Not
Oh,
a
Rego.
description.
Wait, Casena? Wait, did you play golf?
No, it's actually the closest theater to me because everything that's physically closer is longer to drive to. It's only like a 16-minute drive from my house.
Damn.
It's right next to a Chili's, quality.
Queensbridge.
But it's a classic
Heard of us.
Queens experience.
The
like
real
really,
Queensbridge murder roast.
it was really popping, a lot of noises. Yeah. And I also will set it up as Abbie once again did not control himself and got stoned before, and it made it much scarier, but it made it very enjoyable. But it also made me not remember that much of it. But luckily, I took a lot of notes on the Regal Crown Club brochure that they were handing out because I forgot to bring paper.
Are you smoking on the way there, or are you smoking right outside?
I'm smoking in the theater. No, right on the way there.
I mean, that's not out of the realm of like with all the pens and shit.
Well, I'm not smoking pens,
Are you smoking big blunts?
I'm not Andy the AI over here, okay? I smoke fucking classic grass,
me and
bro.
Brendan got the under the shirt titty move.
Well, that's the joke I always make about e-cigarettes. It's like when they came out, everyone was like, oh, cool, now I'll smoke less. And then all of a sudden people are like, remember how I would always smoke cigarettes, but I would never have a problem watching a 2-hour movie? Well, now I'm ripped in bogues in the theater, too.
If you get up to go pee, you got to reach over to the nightstand. It's horrible.
Yeah, I'm sucking away on my little thing all day long. Whole movie.
Sucker MCs. Okay, so let's hear about your guys' viewing experiences. Brendan, how and when did you see it?
So I saw it yesterday, 1:45 showing in Brick, New Jersey, the MC there.
Brick City.
Brick, New Jersey is definitely
a town I've never heard of till
different
right
culture. It's got a lot of, we stand for the flag shirts, military boots. I saw it coming in and out of the bathroom, and I just was crossing my fingers and saying, please, God, let's just not have a shootout.
I actually think we should have the national anthem before movies.
Yes.
And if you don't stand, you can't watch
Nicole
the movie.
Kidman, it's like
Do you guys look for exits? Like when you first get to a theater, like that goes through everyone's mind, right? Is it just me that there's going to be a mass
Absolutely
shooting?
does not go through my mind.
Okay. So anyway, so yeah, Brick, really nice. I go into the theater again. No one there at first, and then as the previews are about to end, like 30 to 40 people usher in. One gentleman brought his comforter with him from home, and he was tucking himself in like a little baby as the movie began. What are your thoughts on bringing blankets, comforters, pillows from home?
I mean, I always bring one layer, like sweatshirt, because you can definitely get caught in a freezing cold theater. But like a comforter, when you're walking around looking like a little ghost, no.
Yeah.
It's not a public
I
facing.
feel like you sure it wasn't a hoodie that was repurposed?
It was a full-on blanket, dude.
was fucking
Like a
down.
quilt.
Yeah,
that's
Dubs,
got,
I bet.
12-panel quilt.
Would you do that, dude?
No, I'm always schwitzing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
true.
Dubs is going up to the Regal manager, like, can you guys get a little colder in here?
I was
please?"
actually just thinking about how we can knock it down a couple notches in this bitch.
Chilly with it. But anyway, yeah. So Brick, New Jersey, AMC, beautiful establishment. Yeah, enjoyed myself. Enjoyed the seats. They reclined fully, and yeah. Dubs,
Horror
how about
movies
you?
bring out, just to say real quick, I hadn't watched them till this podcast. They bring out the different group of people than other movies. Like horror
Different.
movies, there were multiple people in the theater that did not speak one word of English at the theater I was at. Because I could tell because they were trying to order popcorn and they couldn't. And but it's crazy. Like horror movies, people are just like universally like, I know I want to be scared. I know I want to bring my kid to be
I was
scared.
going to say, I feel
Yeah.
insane, but I feel
Yeah.
like there's more babies at, at
everybody.
horror movies.
It is very sweet
Yeah.
and cute in the weird human condition that everyone wants to see these type of horror movies, like every walk of life.
I would have never been allowed to see this movie. There was kids, 6 to 7, 8 years old.
It used to be a
I
whole
could never do
ordeal
that.
getting into an R-rated
Yeah,
movie.
and
when-
now they're just like, I don't give a fuck.
like,
Please
all right,
come,
we're
please
gonna
come.
have to somebody tap that guy on the shoulder and then throw a
Yeah.
wrench in his. Yeah.
Wait, one more anecdote. We got to get to the real shit. But I have a vivid memory of going with, I don't think you were there, Will, but like a bunch of childhood friends, and we were sneaking into the rated R movie Run Tell That. The Martin Lawrence stand-up that was released in theaters, and it was rated R, and they wouldn't sell us tickets, so we bought tickets to Spy Kids 3D.
That was
and
always the move.
Right, and then we snuck in, and
Little
we got
switcheroo.
fucking caught, and the fucking guy that caught us, in order to pay us back, was like, you gotta go watch Spy Kids 3D now. And then we literally went in and had to watch Spy Kids 3D. I don't know if that times out. It might have been
Now-
Spy Kids 2, but
Now you know for a fact it's not kids. It's irresponsible parents
Yes.
buying the tickets
Yes.
because it's reserved seating. So there's no. Anyway,
yeah, it's
Guantanamo
wild.
Bay, there's a cell just playing Spy Kids 3. They had to shut down.
3D, isn't
No,
it?
yeah. They put it back in
Don't forget
2D.
the D. It's big.
All right, Will, what was your experience?
I went to Garden State Plaza. It was me, Lisa, and my 3 very favorite geriatrics. My mom, my dad, and my Aunt Sharon. And more horrifying than the movie itself was the 5 of us packed into my parents' car. And doesn't matter where you're going. Could be somewhere that they've never been. Between Waze,
Or are they
Google
fighting
Maps.
about how to get there?
dude, and they always ask me to drive. Like I'm gonna like they. I don't know
Trust you.
why. I'd rather my dad and I just sit down and shut up in the back. But all 3 of them have some comment on every single new turn that's being made. It's like, well, I mean, I wouldn't have gone that way, but whatever. I mean, and then Sharon's like, well, I've been driving out. Like, Will, you should actually just turn right here. And it's
Yeah.
like, I think we can all consensus that we're just going to listen to the thing and then do the thing.
Satellites
and you guys
from
can,
space are bouncing
can
off
make
each other.
comments. And then my dad is also like, Jesus, that for the brake, they're really expensive. He's like, and I'm like, Dad, I don't know what you want me to do. And he's like, well, I just don't really hit the brake. I maintain this. And it's like, well, if I don't hit the brake at some point, that means I collide with the car in front of me. Anyway, we got there, and in IMAX, it was sick. Like the actual movie.
Oh, you
theater,
want to see it
sick.
at IMAX?
Wow.
IMAX all the way.
Must be nice.
It was top. Lots of
How much are those tickets?
discount Tuesdays. AMC still apply to IMAX.
Wow.
Crazy.
What did they make it, $32 only per person?
Yeah, I mean it was
$32?
expensive. No, I mean the 3 also. They all get senior tickets.
Sick. Did anyone do?
whoever I'm
Dude,
saying.
I can't watch movies with my parents anymore because they literally go, is it going to be this loud the whole time?
Oh my God.
I'm like, this is a movie. I can't believe this. And they think it's gotten louder over the years, but it hasn't. Like, there's no way movies, well, maybe they have.
My dad also doesn't like horror, and he does the like sophisticated version of the HBM, the Happier movie.
Hell
so here's
yeah,
what
Jim.
my dad always talks about. First of all, no movie is good. He's like, well, Gone with the Wind was sick or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Seventh Seal.
he says it's not scary, but if you look over every climactic, intense moment, that's when he has to start doing something. Look for the popcorn. Oh, did I shut my phone off? He's just, whenever it's intense and everybody's
Jim
starting,
Doves, part
he
of the
just
Scaredy Cat
stops
crew.
it. Anyway, I love my family very, very much, and I had a blast, but I prefer if somebody else drives next time.
All right, well, let's drive this podcast right into the brick wall because it's time for synopsises.
So the way we kick this show off is each one of us gives a synopsis in exactly one sentence, only with our own little personal flair, but also to give you an idea of what we felt about the movie. And then we will read you the official one so that at least you guys have a broad overview of what the movie is about. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first because I wrote this one. It took me a long time.
Whoa, you wrote it down?
I wroed it down. I typed
Holy
it.
crap.
That literally is a first.
I know. Well, it didn't.
11th
As you'll
episode.
see, it's not like I spent a lot of time on it. I want
It's
to
a
say
premeditated-
this isn't disparaging comment, but this is the movie. Don't get on the ship. There's aliens.
Okay. That's pretty good.
That's it. That's
Short,
the movie.
sweet, sexy.
Ready?
Brendan, you being the middle ground of very accurate, efficient, I think you should go next.
I don't know how accurate this is going to be, but
But will it be efficient?
all right, here we go. When Rain, an orphan who has never seen the sunrise, is denied a travel permit and is forced to work in the mines that killed her parents, she and her friends aim to salvage cryopods from a derelict spacecraft in hopes of leaving their bleak existences behind.
Dude, you hit that in Migos, when they first came out, all of their songs were like,
I know, dude, it's too much. Yeah,
No,
good.
that
That
was
was very
dude,
accurate.
I mispronounced words.
Never seen the sunrise? That got me, dude. That was good. All right. So mine, I think, is more of a reaction than a synopsis. My chest is just bursting with joy, and I want to hug each one of your faces today because my dog Fetty has exceeded the expectations he himself drew beautifully against the horror sci-fi Olympus that is Alien.
Nice.
All right.
All right, here's
Strong
the
take.
official
Very
one.
good.
It's a nice short one. While scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station, a group of young space colonizers come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe.
Wow, we both used derelict.
Derelict. I really like the sun setting because that provided some incentive, some emotional
I
weight
agree,
to
Brendan.
the film.
I think again, quit your job.
Listen,
go write synopsis.
The haters are going to say that the haters are going to say I ripped off it. I swear to G.
You
That's
didn't see
God. I did not see the synopsis.
All right, proud of you.
So let's get into this. I mean, this should be a short episode because there's not really much to talk about. This movie was, let's be honest, average. And so aliens, boom, boom, hug, burst, done.
That should have been the synopsis, dude. That was
That is
excellent.
it.
Black goo, green goo, fucking who cares? Let's get out of here.
Gabagool, who knows?
Gabagool.
I mean, I buried the lead. I told you guys that I liked it via my synopsis. So I really liked it. I would 100% recommend it. This is the part of the show where we just say, what did you think? Would you recommend it? I've already gone. Fellas, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Brendan went to. Let's also get into it right after. I think Alien, if I'm not mistaken, the first one is one of your favorite horror movies of all time, and horror is one of your favorite genres of all time. Therefore, transitive property, it's one of your favorite movies of all time, and I want to hear about that because I also watched Alien, the first one, recently for the first time. Wow, what a flick! This seemed like it harkened back to that one, and that was their point, and I enjoyed it. There was a few things that could have made it like, oof, that's like my shit. But I enjoyed it, and I was scared of it, which is unfortunate for me. But the point of
It
the
was
fucking
scary.
movie
I
and
was
podcast.
happy about that.
There were moments that it was scary for sure. And Abby, totally agree with you. It wasn't just a rehashing, it was a reimagining with nods and homages to the past greatness of this franchise. And I will say this, I did not have high expectations going into this movie.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, there's been a lot of alien
this
movies.
is like the seventh or
There's been a lot of alien movies, so I'm thinking, okay, this is a summer blockbuster. You know, it's slapping the alien word on the title of the movie. They're going to get a lot of people, and it's a classic, butter my popcorn movie.
Is that a sexual euphemism?
But I will say, this movie buttered my popcorn. I liked it. I left surprisingly happy. I think these types of movies, this is why we go to the movies.
Yeah,
this is
fun.
what a cinematic experience should feel like. Yeah, it thrilled me, it chilled me, and I spilled goo
Absolutely
all
killed
over
you.
my
I
pants.
was expecting you to just lead with something. I think in just sheer entertainment, this was the most fun movie we've seen on the show.
Disagree.
I
But
Yeah, I don't think it was the most
liked
fun,
it,
but
Most
but enjoyable.
Fun. Yeah, I don't think I can
That's
think of
fair.
another word.
Really?
Yeah, fun.
Disagree?
Yeah, totally. Dude. Absolutely.
Yeah, but a lot of that was pulling on my, alien heartstrings
Right.
and nostalgia and all that stuff. But yes, Alien is one of my favorite. I love sci-fi next to horror is my second favorite. So sci-fi horror, space horror, very seldom done right. But The Thing and Alien are both on probably my Rushmore that has more than 4 faces. But it also just... We talked about this in the Exorcist episode. The first one holds up so
well.
unbelievably well.
Yeah,
It is-
100%.
And Fede, one of my favorite things, this is not spoiler, but what he did was he made sure not to update any of the tech, the visuals. He went back to what it looked like in 1979, just with a glossy,
Practical. He kept it
yeah,
practical.
he went
didn't go
everything-
green screen.
Yeah.
He didn't overuse.
So-
which is actually, there was an interview with him, and he
Yeah.
talks about how
Emphasis.
the xenomorph was animatronic. He said he never used the green screen in the entire movie. All the effects were he was trying to keep to
Minimum,
that
yeah.
practical canon of like Ridley Scott and that original 1979 production.
45 years ago,
Yeah.
that movie was made.
Crazy.
Holy
And it still
looks
holds up.
Better, yeah. So I had high hopes for that reason. I knew that Fede got a huge endorsement from Ridley Scott. Really came on to produce it. So and if you have seen Evil Dead, which neither of you have, the Evil Dead remake, but he has this visual flair that's uncanny.
Well, Don't Breathe, I saw.
Don't breathe this.
It's an amazing movie. And actually, there's a scene in this movie that I felt was kind of
he always has,
reminiscent
like,
of
one
Don't Breathe. Yeah.
Really, he's like, I got to do something gross.
Yeah.
But those two things of him getting like the stamp of approval and knowing that he has capably made a love letter to an iconic franchise in a totally different way before, I thought, at the very least, this was going to look good. B, it was going to be gross and do something a little bit differently. But then C, when he was like all practical, all like building the sets and like, trying to have new characters, not just, not just a retelling.
Well, in full circle, Evil Dead is Raimi originally, right?
Yeah.
So Raimi loves goo. Fede takes over, loves goo. And now we got the alien Romulus. We are gooed up.
Well,
it
yeah.
was gooing everywhere.
If you've seen Don't Breathe, you don't even want to know what happens with goo in that
Oh,
movie.
God.
He likes goo.
It involves jizz, a turkey baster, and somebody's mouth.
It's
Oh,
kind
damn,
of.
sounds like my Saturday night.
But dude, this movie was visually stunning. Like I totally like talking about just the stylistically in the set design and how it just pays tribute to that, how amazing those sets looked in that original movie. Like the bleeps and the bloops of the 80s style computers, the clicks and the clacks of the vintage keyboards, the whirring monitors, the flicker and flashes of the light styles and switches. Like I felt like, you were transported back into that world, and that's what I love. And again, it didn't feel like it was just doing a cheap rehashing. It felt like it was expanding the world as opposed to trying to duplicate it.
Stunning. I thought so. At first, I was worried that they were going to spend too much time not on a ship when they were on the planet at the very beginning.
Opposite, yeah.
But if you look back at it, and I've read this, and it now makes total sense. He's like sort of paying a quick like homage to Blade Runner, which is also Ridley Scott, and like the aesthetic of the planet is very that like old
Yeah, really
cyberpunk
dystopian.
kind of yeah. But yeah, once they get on the ship and they enter that first no gravity corridor and it zooms out
yeah.
the wide lens, I was like,
Yeah.
all right, this is going to be good.
Also, from just a production side, it's like they did I think, a really good job of being like, it's modern. We got a lot of money, but we're going to keep it a bottle movie. We're going to keep it contained. We're going to keep it old school looking. And therefore, I feel like we're like, well, we can fucking rip the money on the few scenes that we have of the rings around the planet, which were gorgeous.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
well, I always thought, well, when they're going to have CGI, with the exception of one part, it's going to be bad. But it was phenomenal. The CGI was so good.
Because space, space is a good place to CGI.
It was great.
But also the sound. That was another thing
sound
that Fede
design
said
was
was
amazing.
like paramount for him to get right.
The score too, like I loved like the original score in Alien, and I love what they did with the score here. I wish I should have looked up like who did the score, but yeah, it was, I don't know. It was
one of
very
those no songs but music.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like a actual score.
Yeah.
As opposed to like Little John.
So there's all these little.
Can you imagine, dude?
So there's all these little details and homages and things that we're going to say homage a lot. It's impossible, but I have a list that I came with.
I'm going to say homage.
But before, I think all of those would be considered spoilers. So I do want to kind of wrap. I think we all want to get more detailed.
Yeah.
So we all agree we liked it and we would
I would
recommend it.
recommend
Yes.
it. And add on that, what's cool about it is I recommend it as people that have seen the original. We've seen a mix of all to some of the other aliens. But I also, he clearly made it so that you could never have seen any of them, and you'll still appreciate it. There's obviously shit ton of Easter eggs in here that
Yeah,
I
you're
know
going to
you're
find
gonna
out
talk
about all these ones
But still, it's cool that it's standalone.
Easter eggs, alien eggs.
Yeah.
But also,
Let's crack them, baby.
Goo, goo, goo.
Let's crack them, make some omelets.
It just was nice to go back to the roots of a contained, like, claustrophobic horror of you're stuck in here with a thing that was lost in a lot of the sequels. Anyway, so we agree there. So before we get into the spoilers and start talking about the broader franchise and the Easter eggs, Abbie, you mentioned that it was scary. I think we all agreed that it had it's definitely exciting movie, but how really for the 22 listeners, how scary was this film? You being the baby of Two Men and a Baby, the human barometer, please tell us your Binkymeter rating and provide a little color. Explain why, how scary was it?
I'll provide some green goo color. I was scared. So I will set up again. We have babies of all types, of all sorts, listening and not listening mostly. So my scariest movie is not a creature. What do they call it? A creature movie? Like Creature's
feature?
not my scariest movie.
Monster
I would
movie?
say
Monster movie.
monster movie's not my scariest. I'm scared of like weird, like Shining type of shit. Like it was really what fucks me up the most. Supernatural. Again, talk to me. Still keep going back to how
Black
scary
Christmas
that was.
to me is still
Black Christmas fucked me up.
It's interesting because I never would have thought of it but now knowing more about what you find scary, it checks out.
I should stop telling you guys because I feel like I'm going to get tortured soon with some upcoming movies. But either way, there's creature things that do scare me are the very realistic ones. Like I still have such the opposite of a soft spot. I was so scarred by Lake Placid, just like a shit movie. I think.
No,
but,
it's actually
okay. I haven't seen it.
hilarious. You got to rewatch it as an adult, especially
funny.
you. He'd probably still hate it, but you would like
Lake
it a lot.
Placid? Is that the alligator?
Alligator,
It
like
also
a
has
gigantic alligator.
what's Christopher Lloyd in it.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just it's
I'll give it a try. But yeah, those kind of like realistic, like I like swimming in lakes or ponds and oceans. And so movies with that, I'm scared of. Besides that, creatures aren't the top fear. But this one had some fear in it. Some jump scares. We'll talk about them. Only a few, but really well done jump scares that I hated every bit of. And literally multiple people at the theater laughed at me on one of the reactions that we'll get to in the spoiler room. But yeah, I think, and it's interesting what you said, claustrophobic was, I think, a really good point. At first, I thought, and we've talked about this before, one of the ways that us scared people will get away from being scared is finding defense mechanisms in rationalizing mistakes in the movies that weren't necessarily mistakes. I was sad that it felt so separate from space in a lot of it. Like I like the expansive worlds. I liked that CGI. I liked the planet at the beginning. And I think a part of me was frustrated we didn't go back, but I think that part of me was just scared. And I think it was the claustrophobia of being stuck on that ship, which was the director pulling off exactly what he wanted. And so, again, props, because that's the point of the fucking movie.
Got to be honest.
Because you can't escape outside, baby.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
space. No
one
O2
can
out
hear you
there.
scream.
Exactly.
And also,
you can't get
And you
home,
can't breathe.
which is what they
And
want to do.
Yeah, you can't survive.
Christopher Lloyd was 100% not in Lake Placid. Betty White was, though, and Brendan
rest in
Gleeson,
peace,
very
dude.
random.
Well, I'm getting placid from you interrupting me. So the other thing is that I recently got in, as I think a lot of people did. We're sponsored by Hulu now. Hulu, Make-A-Wish, Peacock.com. That's their slogan. The other Alien movies are on there, the newer versions. So I rewatched Prometheus before this, and I fucking really like Prometheus. I really enjoy that movie. And that is scary in its own different way because that's more conceptually scary. Like, oh, God, what is this thing that's going to be unleashed? But it's very...
creationism.
Right. It's about creationism. It's not claustrophobic. In fact, it's beautifully expansive. And so I think that is something I enjoy a lot, and I enjoyed that. But again, this was trying to do something different. Alien and Covenant was a bit of the middle ground, and it did a good job, I thought, of being both a little more classically jump scary, but also being creationist, but also just being dumber than either this or Prometheus was.
Yeah. And the subject matter, I feel like, is so expansive that there has to be more, like, there's so much more going on and so much more that needs to be explained that, like, you're going to have, I don't know, you need, like, a larger world to contain all of that
essentially, it's about the beginning of all mankind versus this is about you're trapped on a plane with an alien.
Yeah, and the motivations also are much different. Like the main characters of this are so much more simple and
relatable.
Yeah, relatable as opposed to like we need to find our creators or like you know what I mean.
And then just to finish, I just got to say, while we're talking about the other franchises, The Covenant also does have the most amazing thing ever, which is having James Franco in the movie with 0 lines and then 1 immolation. And that is it. It's brilliant. I love it. It wasn't on purpose, supposedly. They cut it. So back to this movie. Alien Romulus scared 2 big jump scares. Creatures are not my scariest level, but it was well executed, claustrophobic, and I'm very, very claustrophobic. Little Abbie cannot go in the touch tunnel again. And I am going to say it was a 7.5 for me. And I know that number sounds low, but again, it's just because like I'll always be more scared of a twisted human on Earth than like something weird in space. And personally, I find the little guys in all of these franchises so much scarier than the xenomorphs.
Well, yeah.
Personally, I find, yes, it's cool. Oh, the 70s. And I'm not talking that much shit, but I'm talking a little shit. I like that it's like, we go back, we don't do CGI, we go back to effects. Well, you know what? Once it looks like a guy in a fucking costume, I'm a lot less scared than when it's the tiny little what the fuck creature that I can't tell what's doing and it jumps on my face and sticks things down my throat.
Yeah, well,
that's so much scarier. I'd rather just
down
get eaten.
the throat thing and that keeps you alive, and then you just wake up and are like, oh shit, I'm all right, and you're not all right.
Right.
That's what, dude. The first one, and nobody knew what the fuck was gonna happen. The first one's so good.
Yeah, I agree, dude. I wasn't like when I wasn't. It wasn't scary in the traditional sense. Even the original movie, like. I'm more looking at like the chest bursters and the face huggers and stuff as like, ooh, that's cool, that's interesting, like wow, that's like gives me an adrenaline rush. I'm not like, ooh, scary. The scariest part to me in the first Alien was like when Ash is revealed to be a synthetic or an android, like that was kind of unsettling to me. Like things are not how they seem, which is like the thing. The thing has that like to me wasn't so much like the monsters as it was like the deception and the revealing of know.
And that's a twist in Covenant too.
The humans
AI.
and the audience, slowly getting exposed to the dread and the realization that their situation is so dire. Like once the thing bursts out, they're like, okay, that thing is not. It's not just a quarantine issue now. It's like, how do we not die?
Right, and it's like not to be morbid, but it's like the truth is, once there's xenomorph or once it pops out, it's like. Fucking kill me. Cool. I'm going to die anyway. I'm a human. Whereas it's like when you're like The Thing. Again, you brought The Thing to my attention. Probably the best, one of my favorite movies I've ever seen, period. That is the coolest plot. Is this person safe that looks like my friend and is my friend?
Yeah.
And in the Alien movies, it's like she is my friend.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Classic.
Faculty.
Okay. Faculty's
Josh
great.
Hartnett.
Faculty's hilarious.
All right, so I went in the opposite direction.
You do know left, right versus right, left sounds the same on the table.
And we're in the spoiler room now where we can talk about whatever we want about this movie, about the other movies. And we do have a lot. I know I do that I want to discuss. I am curious, do you guys have, we're not going to have time to touch on every little plot detail, so I want to talk about my Easter eggs. I want to talk about where it fits into the broader Alien universe franchise, but do you guys want to talk about your rankings?
I want to just say real quick, because I want to knock this off my paper so I can cross it out. It was just a nice, refreshing thing to see a movie that had pretty good acting. I feel like after Trap and Violent Nature, and it's just like it wasn't the greatest acting ever, but it was just like, oh yeah, guess what? A movie can be scary and can have kitschy things and can have homages, and it doesn't have to be trash. So that was nice.
That was my biggest concern going in, because Fede like definitely put that at the back burner of like Evil Dead. The actors were a means to get from one gruesome set piece to another, and I thought that was going to be the case. But once the Andy, the black guy, like switched, I was like, yo, this dude is killing it.
Dude, he was great. He, you're replacing Fassbender, and so that's a big act to follow. And they found a guy. I don't know. No one watches Industry here. I've been watching it, and it's hilarious because he's like one of the main characters. And this Fetty definitely watched that show and was like, yeah, this guy feels like an AI even when he's playing a human, so he'll definitely kill it as playing an AI. He was fucking perfect for it. And again, everything I've ever seen him in, he's sort of AI-like, and they had that perfect like mix between it.
Yeah, I liked, again, and you guys touched on it, the difference in the characters' like motivations, and how in this movie it felt, in previous movies it feels like all the main characters have, their motivation is an extension of this company that they work for, and like the goals of the Wayland Industries and all that stuff. And it felt like the motivations were very simple in this movie. There wasn't a lot of exposition, because all these movies previous to this one, all this exposition is already laid out. So the world is known already. So you don't really have to go in. Like when the kids are on the craft and they're going up into the atmosphere, and he like lights that cigarette and like the flame goes high and he sucks down. That one scene perfectly encapsulates who they are. You already know they know how to fly. They've been in this world for a long time.
Right. He sucks ass as a person.
Yeah, he sucks. So he thinks that's cool.
He's a racist.
Yeah, and it's just like we want to get off this fucking shitty planet and go somewhere where we can see the sun. Like, it's such a simple motivation. It's not like we need to go and get the blank goo to make the DNA anecdote.
Which are fun versions sometimes.
Which are
too,
fun
but
too,
agree,
but
yeah.
it was nice to. Yeah.
And the AI thing was a cool swing, because one of the things they played with in all the other ones, which totally works and is an awesome plot, is what is this AI's real motivation? In Fassbender, the whole time you're like, who is his real boss? This one was cool because it was like, we know his motivation, and then it switches and it's scary, but we know that one too. And so it was a cool play on like, we're still finding a new way to be scared by an old thing,
This is where I start grasping at like themes and meanings, but so also racist with a capital AI. Anyway. No, I wanted to say that before, but I missed my
There's
opportunity.
a C in the middle.
So well, what Brendan's saying about them coming back and grounding it, Ridley Scott really got ambitious, and when he zoomed out and wanted to explore these themes of creationism and where do we come from, and it was very biblical and kind of implying that aliens were our creators, and that continued to be a theme where this dialed it all the way back, and it was more about how much can somebody value their life right now, and that value was totally kind of paramount to the relationships they had with one another, including one with what is or isn't a person. What matters? Does something have to be alive for you to love it?
Right.
But her motivation came entirely to survive with this thing that she loved regardless of what it was.
Non-human, but still a creature.
And then to Brendan's other point about like the capitalist element, it is interesting that I don't want to say the dumbed down version of Andy, but the Andy that we know is like,
simpler
is more
motivation.
about he just cares for this person. That's his whole.
Yeah.
And then when they sophisticate him and incorporate all these external factors, his entire motivation becomes money. So that's like not a very subtle. And then they remove it, and he cares about money and not anymore. I really like that.
Woke.
Yeah,
pill.
I mean, it certainly you cared more about them at the end than you do like the final girl in Evil Dead. But I wouldn't have cared even if there was no character development, because I enjoyed all the like
Horror.
set pieces and
Yeah, I mean, so I thought it was very cool when he does the little like eyes roll back. He becomes, this new thing. And again,
And you can see the Wayland Yutani labels on his
that was
eyes.
sick.
That was
He's doing his O face, and it's so cool because just like your point, technology, growth, things that often lead to like bad, like feel good at first. And so I think as the audience, when he first gains these powers, you're like, fuck yes. Fuck yes. Our guy who has a good heart. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you're like, no, you don't get those things. You live long enough to become the villain. So then we get to the other AI bot. And that's the first jump scare, I think, right? Because, like, the alien jumps on the face, and, like, but we're used to that. That was great. That was a cool scene. I like that. These guys were actually, the asshole and the main guy fought off those little guys better than, like, a lot of other in the past Alien franchises did. Like, they did a good job surviving.
Did have the bat.
Yeah, he had the little
Prodder bat thing.
And, but the half AI bot that was on the floor, you know, that
Rook.
cut in half.
Yeah, Rook.
And then when he grabbed the arm, and I knew something was going to come from that, but I literally went, I don't know what it was, like a guttural reaction. I went, oh dear, like out loud, and like multiple people laughed at me because my response was for some reason like, and I am not talking like you've seen me go, but I think with you guys
like
I was even
balloon,
more
like
on
an airbag is under your butt.
Exactly. This was like, I think because I was stoned, and the movie did, again, great horror movies. It's a strong theme. They lure you in. They're not going to let you know when it's about to happen, per se. So this had been a bit of luring and false starts, so you weren't quite on your seat. And then that shit fucked me up. That was very scary. He's got the fucking, I love how alien blood is just jizz.
Yeah.
And that's the future that we live in.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
These movies are always hard to like discern the different goos and what am I looking at? Like, you know what I mean? It's like something's just wet and leathery, and then it's moving. Is it vagina? Is it what goo is
there
this?
was the
Black
big
goo,
wall
green.
vaginal scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's
So,
talk about that.
With the,
So
the
I have-
taser or whatever, the
there's a-
electrical thing,
You got
cow prod.
Tase the vagina.
There's a fun fact about that part. The one thing about Rook, that was the only CGI that I thought was like stood out as noticeable.
Like when they were showing him for a while,
no,
propped
his
up in
face.
his
They're
stomach.
His face, yeah.
de-aging.
They're reanimating.
Because
Well-
that's Ash, a newer model of Ash.
Yeah. And in the credits, they actually put Ian Holm as facial and vocal reference because he wasn't even alive when
wasn't
they did
alive
it.
for
Yeah,
any
yeah.
of
Yeah, they got a different actor to recreate his voice. They
Brev
did not
could've
AI.
made some
but
money if he was
Lisa
alive.
did say something funny about the AI, as in the CGI of the AI was like very noticeably.
Yeah, it was kind of
Kinda
weird.
goofy.
It kind of reminded me of The Irishman, like the de-aging.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
That explains something felt off to me, but I couldn't. I thought it. I
That
didn't
makes
know
me
that.
feel better than I guess if you didn't know, it's less noticeable.
Yeah, but it was still.
So
Apparently,
something.
Ian Holm was like really kind of had a bad relationship with Hollywood towards the end of his life, and Fede, is it Fede? Fede felt weird about putting him in. Like he died, right?
Right, like he
But
probably
then-
wouldn't have wanted to.
Yeah,
be.
but he talked to his widow, and apparently he'd always talk about him loving that franchise and
that's
that movie
cute.
and wanting to. He would definitely, jump at the chance of being included in.
it would
like
also
a
be
sequel.
the only other Wayland Industries AI at the like how Michael Fassbender has one and a newer
Walter.
one. Walter.
Yeah.
In this, that's just Ash and Rook are the same, are newer models.
Yeah,
Right.
they probably made thousands of them.
So,
Right.
so if you didn't catch it, the movie starts with the actual wreckage of the ship from the first movie, the station that
Nostromo.
and what they recover is the actual alien fossil, whatever you want to call it, that was ejected by Ripley.
Remind me, is anyone alive when we're seeing that? Yes.
Well, she blew it up. She blew the ship up.
Yeah.
Ellen Ripley, when she escaped Nostromo, she blew it up, got
In
her
the
own
first movie.
in Alien.
Yeah.
So
So they're like combing the wreckage.
But
yeah.
this
who wants to make money off of this and create, the ultimate human species based on what they know about this unkillable organism.
Right.
They find it. I think they said
Right.
it 20 years. They find it 20 years later. They bring it on. They defossil, and you can actually see it has the harpoon in it still.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. There's also these other little things like Mother was the name of the ship, but it was Mother 9000 in this when it was Mother 6000 in
right.
the other one. It's actually like MU.
Right. I saw
Yeah,
that.
MU/TH/.
Also, the pulse rifle is a slightly younger version than the one that is introduced by the Marines in Aliens, but it is the same exact type of weapon. So there's all this tech because it takes place between Alien
Right,
and Aliens.
Right.
Now, so there's a lot of the old lore. I think the first 2/3 of the movie followed almost the exact same path as Alien. Face huggers, you don't know what they are. Somebody bursts out, and then all of a sudden you're stuck
Right.
with it. But new lore that I thought was super cool. So in Alien 1, the life cycle of the alien as we know it is there's a mist, they find an egg. It was Parker, who was it? In the first, I don't remember.
Kane,
the British guy. He sees a mist. The mist, it seems, when he interacts with it, opens up the egg. The egg facehugger comes out. They bring him on the ship. They don't know what it is. Thing busts out of his chest.
Right.
Now, from there, it's just a little tiny, cute little snake thing.
Yeah.
All they do is kind of show you that there's a little shedded skin, but all of a sudden, this alien is, Victor Wembanyama, 7'6", gigantic, and they don't really explain. So I looked it up because I was wondering. I was like, what is this cocoon, this little wall vagina that they prod? And they said it was just them explaining how it goes from the tiny alien.
to
And
the
it's
full
basically,
xenomorph.
it's like a caterpillar
chamber.
becoming a butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was cool that they just had a reason for this new gross thing, but
This
also
thing gets birthed like 9 times. It's like
birth
an egg, birth
creation.
through a stomach, birth through a vagina wall, birth through a fucking other thing. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But yeah, they never ever explained how it grew.
and
So
Prometheus,
this-
the like out of the
the
engineer,
goo.
it just comes like fully grown out of the engineer. Or remember when at the end where oh god, what's her name, Shaw. She's fighting the engineer, and then the alien wraps around the engineer and,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
implants its seed in the engineer.
Yeah.
It comes out of the engineer fully grown in like
So
a
that-
different
that wasn't-
version.
yeah, it's not
like a
totally a
deacon.
xenomorph.
It's called like a deacon xenomorph, whatever.
the original xenomorphs were actually created by
The engine-
Fassbender in
Right, right.
Covenant.
That's debated. Yeah. They don't know that.
Well, either way, it all ties
Yeah.
back to this goo
Right,
that the
right.
engineers.
Yeah.
All right, well, we can talk about
Yeah,
Prometheus.
that's-
Yeah.
Because Fassbender's character actually is reading the instructions on how to create the xenomorph, so you presume that the engineers left that
He said
information,
it was
so they
his
made
own
it.
studies that he was doing while he was trapped
there
on
was
that planet.
yeah, but there was evidence of xenomorphs before he did his experiments. Was what I'm saying, but it doesn't matter. Yeah.
The
There's
other way,
different-
it's the same
yeah.
goo, and the goo was used both for creationism by the engineers. They, in the very beginning of Prometheus, kill themselves to create
Yeah.
life on Earth. It's
Right.
presumed
Like
that guy is
seed,
literally
yeah.
Jesus,
Or life on something. That looks
or like God, and that whatever.
Oh, don't you know? Did you know that in early draft of Prometheus, they talk about the engineers talk about sending down Jesus Christ?
Jesus. No,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
do. That's in the movie.
Yeah, but it's way more on the nose in an
Oh,
earlier draft.
so they
and I actually
say
have
Jesus.
the. Well, okay.
So I
Wait, can I read
misspoke.
you the early nah,
Well,
whatever.
can I
We
see
won't
if
get
I
into
got it right?
Yeah.
Well, so the engineer eats the goo at the beginning, and he dies. So sacrifice for life. Life
Right.
comes, and then when they're in like the ship and they're looking at these like hieroglyphics, or I don't know if it was in the ship, but they say that they send the engineers, including one very important one, 2,000 years ago, which would be 2,000 before Christ. Yeah, so that's when Jesus was
Jesus Christ.
famous, and the idea was that the engineer was kind of visiting to check in on the status of the life that they created on Earth. Now that goo also is weaponized by Fassbender. I don't
He
really
said,
know.
I'm going to take this goo and I'm going to make me the best Jew I've ever seen.
But it was cool in this instance because you're trained by all these other movies to expect the AI to be just the worst. And in this instance, their studies were actually to try to preserve like humanity by improving their capacity to colonize and survive in places that aren't Earth.
Right.
So it was a little evil in the sense that they had like the prerogative is number one, we have to follow, but it still wasn't like a sinister cash
Right.
grab. It was we're trying to preserve humanity by this this goo that
but
we
also
derive.
yeah, but also to be fair, that's sort of how Wayland sold it earlier too, as like he was really just trying to live forever, but he was pretending
Right.
like it was to help mankind. So I think there's probably more to learn on that.
We took him.
plot.
We took a mother's child back to paradise and educated him, taught him the meaning of life and creation. We put him back into Eden to educate your kind, but your kind decided to punish him. We gave you the fruits of life, and you repay us by leaving it to rot. That was like the
Oh, like
original.
engineer says that.
Yeah,
Wow.
to David in the Juggernaut when they find him in the cryopod. That scene is when he delivers that line instead of just ripping his head up, David's head up. In
Wow.
Prometheus.
So that's exactly where M. Night Shyamalan, I hope you're listening, That's how rewrites are important because that I hate that. And if
Yeah,
that
it's a
was in
little
the fucking
too-
movie,
yeah.
I would hate that movie so much more.
Yeah, definitely.
Show, don't tell,
100%.
fucking leave some things to it. So we got the Vagisil, the yeast-infected wall. It's building xenomorphs from little baby boys into fully grown mammoths.
Now we already know that they cocoon humans to put more face huggers on them to birth more
Right.
aliens. So that's like that you really see in Aliens. But the other new lore is they finally explain how the face huggers can detect. I thought that was cool that it's heat.
I like that. I thought that.
Well, it
I
made
got
a good set piece. and-
Don't breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a good, that can go badly in movies when they try to explain too much. And that was actually a good, like, simple, they're still scary. It's a greatest human concept. Telling yourself to relax is such an oxymoron, and it's very fun.
But it's also like you're raising the temperature up in the room, and then you're opening the doors. It's like the temperature is going to change immediately to that room.
Oh, that's true.
Fucking physics.
Fuck yeah.
300.
Wow.
What is that?
HVAC.
Thermodynamic.
HVAC on fucking Remus and Romulus.
Thermal. So other new lore is the pulse rifle auto aim functionality that was just when he explained it, you're like, this is going to be something dope later. It was.
Video gamey. Okay, so then,
But
there's
there
the
were
big
some.
one.
Yeah,
Oh,
go ahead.
Well, I want to save it. There's the big thing. Like, there's the big
Well-
twist. But do we want to save that for a second?
Well, I just want to talk about some-
I want to hear your
Yeah.
Fletch
Some
facts.
more of the
Fletch
other.
fact, Fletch fact.
No. Before I go to flashbacks, just because you were talking to Easter eggs, and I just want to talk about some of the callbacks from the first movie.
I have-
the one of the first scenes. You see the drinking bird toy on the table. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's in the first movie
Yeah,
as
I
well.
remember
Like
that.
The Office, right? Or like,
Yeah.
Or no, it's at the
no,
very
it's just
opening
when they're
scene in
eating.
the
When they're
ship.
eating at
Yes,
the
yeah.
table there, but it's also in within the first like minute of Alien.
It's the classic bird that Homer uses when he's working from home in the episode
Yeah.
where he gets fat, and he says, "Oh, I can just have a guy fill in for me," and then it creates a nuclear explosion, and he has
first-
to save the day.
Yeah.
But he saves the day because he's fat, and he fills in the exploding tube. Okay.
So I just thought that was interesting that he just decided to include that. It's kind of depicts like an insatiable thirst, the symbol of humanity's insatiable thirst for dominance and mortality, will and interest. Anyway. Also, there was just scenes that were pretty much very similar to scenes in Alien, like trying to move the facehugger from Kane. Parker in Alien recommends to freeze the facehugger. In Romulus, Rain recommends the same thing. The scene where Rain ejects the xenomorph hybrid at the end is similar, to how Ripley ejects the xenomorph. In Alien, the rope and everything. It felt very similar. Ripley also states in an audio log at the end of the movie, last survivor of the Nostromo signing off. Rain does the same thing towards the end of the
real
movie.
quick with these. You guys have seen both of them more than I have. I clearly must have been stoned when I watched Alien 2 because I loved it, but I don't remember a lot of it. Are there any
Aliens?
points? Alien,
Yeah.
no. Alien, TOO. Are any of these, does it ever hit a point where you're like, okay, this is a little on the nose, the same? Like, I know that's a complaint about Star Wars. Like, the newest one is a little too similar to being a remake of the first one.
No, I
it
felt like-
deviated enough.
Yeah.
Like they're definitely so. Yes, the ejection is actually almost. It's actually, I would say, more similar in Alien Resurrection because it's like that weird hybrid thing, and it's the sucking through. But
Well, let's say he gets he gets shot with the claw, but yeah, dude, but even with the rope, like instead of like the grappling hook in Alien, it's like she hooks herself. It's
Isn't
like,
that
dude, it's a rope hanging out.
Too similar?
Yeah,
Well, I think
they're
it-
both hanging out by a rope from. I mean, come on, dude.
well, it goes further than that. There's two lines that are word for word the same, and it's totally deliberate. One is I prefer the term artificial person myself. Andy says that, but also I think Ash says that. But even more is one of the dopest parts of the whole movie
When
where
he goes,
he's like,
this is the movie Alien.
Oh, get away from her.
he goes, "Get away from her, you bitch."
Yeah.
Ripley, aliens with the
Yeah.
little walker, says, "Get away from her, you bitch," when she's saving what's her name? Newt.
I didn't know that either. I thought
you
that was
been
the
popping that
original
tea.
Those are
attempt
two
at
like
a joke.
Yeah, I will say it had a bunch of like get up and cheer moments in this. So like I don't know about you, for me when she hits the zero gravity and they all float and she just unloads,
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah.
and then all the acid is there. I was
Dude,
like,
that was
oh.
crazy. She was flying through like me, going sober to a Fish concert, just like dodging acid left and right. You know what I'm saying?
And then there's
I actually like that part. That one.
I loved it. I loved
It
it.
was cool. It looked cool, like the way the acid was, but I was
I
like,
thought it was unrealistic.
no, I just thought it was like,
He had to do something
No,
new
no, no.
and crazy.
I liked it. I liked the way it looked.
Don't let us beef. Don't let us fucking peer
I loved
pressure.
it. It was the best part
like
of the
the way
movie.
you look, I
It was
guarantee
good.
it.
So I had heard that
Men's
some
Warehouse
people's
ass.
beef with the movie
I just
was
got all gooed up, dude. There was too
Oh,
much
you're too
goos,
good.
and then now
Too
we're like
good.
making the goo like now that's the fucking
not good to
the
go.
big antagonist. Just in that one, like maybe there was 3 seconds of that scene, but then they pulled it off. It looked cool, like the blinking lights and the way the goo like it was mosaicked across the screen. I thought it was really sick.
Yeah, so there's that one. Then there's the elevator dropping, and Andy gets his moment. And as is the case with every Alien movie, even I seem to be fooled every time. I was like, okay, after that, it's like they made it back and, kind of feels like safety. Then there's always like the Act 4 last encounter that seems so unlikely happens.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. That's the big new thing, right?
Yeah, that's
An
the brand new lore.
Alien, human hybrid, because they're already partially human, but now we're talking real humanness.
Because she was already
And
pregnant,
She was already
too.
pregnant, and she injected herself with the Whalen
That was
fucking...
25%
Waylon
rat or
Jennings.
something.
Right,
Like,
yeah, she injected herself with Waylon Jennings, and she was singing beautifully.
But either way, it was creating the,
Neil, I never,
it was creating the
I've never
ultimate.
been to space,
but I have been to Romulus.
They say the ladies are real gooey.
So
And I stick my gooey dick in it.
I do,
Well, okay, let's go.
I do have a question about that. So, didn't he say that it was like 25% rat DNA in the thing, or something about?
I didn't hear anything
because
about the
the
rats.
test was done to rats.
Oh, yeah.
And when he gave it to her, he's like, just know that there's something about rats. I don't know, maybe whatever. But it
But
was
he still thought it would work.
It was going to, yeah, they were trying to mix the DNA of humans and
they
the
did.
alien to create the ultimate survivor, and they do. And she's pregnant, so I guess it accelerates the whole thing. I don't really.
I'm glad she poked herself with it, because like I would have too. She was in dire situation. I was worried for a second they were going to be like, no, she's too.
We gotta
pure."
know what
It was an
does.
EpiPen.
Yeah, it was an EpiPen.
It was EpiPen.
It was just like Brendan when
When
he
he
comes
has a-
across some pecan pie.
I actually thought about that. I was like, if I'm in this movie, like I would die quicker if I ate like a nut muffin.
Yeah, Brendan,
like,
you'd grow up into a ball and
Dude,
grab some cashews
can you
and say,
imagine
"Fuck it,
dying
dude."
of a little pistachio cookie before,
They're-
and there's
the
aliens
crew-
afoot?
The
and
crew
I'm-
comes 100 years later and they're like, wow, this guy's been head chopped off. This guy died from the viscous acid. I think this guy went into the anaphylactic shock because he ate a little almond joy.
Yeah, because he lit a Snickers.
My favorite though was when she starts from her little new alien mommy milkers lactating the new goo that his tongue
Yo,
thing
Oh, that
latches.
was wild.
Dude,
That's
Alien
pathetic.
4 colon new goo. That would be sick. Yeah, she goes with her fingers at the black goo, and I go, uh-oh, that's no good.
Yeah,
Brendan goes,
She-
uh-oh.
baby's hungry.
Daddy's got to go to the bathroom.
That creature design was sick, and I was worried that
Bro,
was going
it
to be
was dope.
CGI.
That was crazy. That was like,
They also
Slender
had-
Man? That was like Slender They Them.
It kind of felt like it
Did you- I
follows.
was going to say, did you notice their like butthole crotch?
No,
it
they had
butt-
a cloaca.
It was it was an innie, not an Audi.
Looked like James Carvel.
like a little butthole. But it's
There's your
where,
DNC
where the
reference.
other
The Raging Alien Cajun.
the memorabilia normally would be stored.
So,
Like
yeah,
Tilda Swinton
let's
playing Voldemort.
Dude,
And then he
have you,
sucks
hold on,
on
do you
her-
remember the
the
movie It
mommy
Follows where
milkers.
you were down the hallway, the
tall
tall
man.
guy? It kind of reminds making a character, a scary character, really, really tall is just makes it 10 times
Scary.
scarier, dude.
Scary. So that was huge for alien lore, right? I mean, we're talking
Yeah.
a whole new creature, and
Yes.
the way they did it was so fucking good. Where it looks like from the camera angle, he might be like, "No, that's his mother. He wouldn't do anything."
That's what I thought. I thought he was going to
bad,
go real
right?
close to her face and go, "Mommy."
Mommy,
Well,
and
he-
then he fucking
No, he
eats.
he
Yeah.
didn't. He was just sucking on her.
No, dude, he
Her
No, no,
mom
he's like,
kills her.
but he was.
He was feeding.
he
He was
kills her.
breastfeeding.
He was sucking.
He
He
kills.
was breastfeeding.
Really?
That's
on.
what she reaches. I think he kills her like by accident, like by feeding.
Okay, benefit of the
She-
doubt.
hold
Victim
on.
He was
blaming
very
here.
violent
No,
with
it was
it.
by
He wasn't very
accident.
nurturing.
She reaches into her shirt and pulls out, and then she realizes she's lactating. That's what that
Right.
goo was.
Oh, dude, I
and
didn't
then he
even
has that little
see
mouth
that.
tongue.
Yeah,
and
okay,
you're
good.
Like,
I
oh,
wanted
he's
that.
about to
I'm glad they
eat it.
went that
Now,
direction because I was
so-
like, okay.
So I was saying Fede Alvarez always has that one over the top gross out moment, and I was a little worried that he was going to play it safe in here, and
I
that
can't believe I
was
just said I'm glad that this is
No,
sick,
but
dude. What am I?
yeah, no, but I'm
good.
I felt the same way. I was like, all right, they're not going to just limit it to this, hemoglobin globus birth
Hemoglobins. I'm coming back like my globins.
Josh Groban.
Josh Groban's in my hemoglobins. I got fucking.
Josh Groban his
Groban?
mom's.
Josh Brolin.
Josh
Groban
Brolin can
rhymed
literally.
better.
Rolling.
All right, so let's fucking get over with this. There was a good scene at the end where dude. Let's talk about the scariest part of the whole movie. Can we
last-
talk about it, please? Because that scared me. All right,
What?
I
When-
raise my
when-
hand up and I say that.
Oh, when he
part
flies out?
scared me.
Yeah, and the one last.
And then
Bro,
yeah,
I straight
his
up
face
spilled
was
popcorn.
That was
straight
good.
up spilled popcorn.
I like that.
But yeah, no, I was worried because I the one criticism that I heard that people had was some people were really torn on like Act 3. They didn't like it, and I thought it was going to be the set piece with the guns just being too crazy. They lost their like groundedness, but then I realized it was this choice at the end, and I was so glad that they did something totally different, and it went over well. And Fede still had that one grotesque moment. You have to watch Don't Breathe to see what it is in that movie.
I don't have to do shit.
Don't Breathe is great.
Can I do my Fletch facts, dude?
Yes, please.
All right, let's get these. Run through these real
Been
quick.
full of facts.
So these are from these are from any of the aliens. Ready? So the blue laser lights that were used in the alien's ship egg chamber were borrowed. Get this. So you remember like an Alien one where he goes into the egg chamber and there's blue laser lights everywhere?
Yeah, the mist.
Yeah. But it's blue. It's like
Yeah.
Abba-dee-da-da-di-da.
I mentioned the.
they borrowed the lasers from the Who.
Who?
They were testing out lasers
But who did they borrow it from?
at this. Shut up, dude.
Oh, you're talking about Pete Townsend's band.
The band was testing out the lasers for their stage show in the sound stage next door. All right, cut that immediately. All right, do you know original Alien movie was called Star Beast? Trash.
Star Beast?
Star Beast.
Wait, that sounds like an 80s band. That's sick. But,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was a
that's
little
horrible.
disappointed. The opening title card didn't have the
Star Beast 2.
No, the way the letters come in at Alien.
Yeah.
where it's like
Yeah.
one
Well, it
line
did the
at a
They
time.
did that.
It did
They
the
They did it a
spinning.
little bit.
Yeah, dude,
but
they have
only
to make
for
it a
the
little bit
rom-
different. All right, anyway, chest burst scene reaction was real. During
Yeah,
the
they
filming
didn't
of the
know.
scene, they were aware that the people listening might not, Dubs. During the filming of the scene, they were aware that an alien puppy was going to burst out of his chest, but they didn't know about the blood spraying everywhere. When this happened, the shocked faces were real, and the freak out reaction from actress Veronica Cartwright was absolutely real.
I thought you were saying like that it actually happened.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
we were just
But
playing
it was
with
real
this
aliens.
thing, and then a guy died, and it's
Also, the blood and guts used in that scene were made from cow organs, clams, and oysters.
Bend?
The set smelled really bad, apparently.
Wait, also, did you guys see this meme that's been going around? Maybe we can post it about when they attempted to see if they could have a dog play the xenomorph.
Oh, I did see
it's Ridley Scott being interviewed, and he's like, yeah, it didn't work. It
David
was
Fincher.
David Fincher,
Yeah.
right? Because that was 3. And he was like, yeah, it was a bad idea. We tried it. It was so
Oh, a
cute.
dog?
It's a
An
little
actual
dog
dog?
with the alien suit on.
Oh, my
Like,
No,
God,
he was
dude.
like one of the guys, and I don't think it was Fincher. Was like sometimes when you're making movies, some of the stuff you do is really, really dumb. Yeah. It's like this was really, really
I'm
dumb.
going to put my cat in an alien costume. That'll be
James
fun.
Cameron actually wrote Aliens while filming Terminator in between shoots.
Wow.
Aliens is some people put it even higher than one.
Yeah.
We didn't do our rankings.
I
but
wanna
It's an
like-
action movie.
I like this better than Aliens, and after rewatching all of them recently, I think that Alien 1, despite being older, holds up more because it did less. And Aliens just introducing all these new moving parts and doing so much that some of it very much did age not well.
I got to
And the
rewatch
ground-
it. I did not like Aliens. The
It's
plural
really-
one.
and the-
it was an action movie, and I don't need that out of that genre.
Some of it was so dope, and James
I'll give it
Cameron
another
knows
try.
how to make it. If you watch
James
it as
Cameron
an
could
action,
lick my nuts. I don't like
It's a
it.
you
tight
watch-
script. It's a definitely a tightly written movie.
the tension is amazing. If you watch it as a pure action film, it's incredible. All I'm saying is some people put it on that Olympus of
Yeah.
like best sci-fi movies ever
Yeah.
made.
It's really
And
good.
And maybe it
it
puts
is
the puss
amazing.
in Olympus.
Like, because it picks right up where Ripley is coming out of like the sleep pod, so it's like a seamless
I
transition.
just didn't need the action, but I'll rewatch it. I'll get
Takes
another
place
opinion.
after this one, which is interesting.
Yeah, right.
And
True.
I'm wondering, do you think they'll try to make
Dude,
a
isn't it weird?
sequel?
Yeah.
I don't, because Fede Alvarez seems pretty intent on like, this is the movie I wanted to make and I made it.
Fine, they'll find another.
No, they didn't with they did make Evil Dead Rise technically. Fuck.
They're not stopping.
Yeah.
Will, come on! Don't be fucking ignorant to this.
The
It's
sequel
it's
to
weird
the
that-
requel,
it's
man.
weird
this
that-
is a theme.
that
That
Ripley
should
and
be our shirts.
yeah,
sequel
prequel to
the
the sequel.
Sequel to the requel? We had a
NyQuil
sequel
is what
to a
I'm taking.
prequel, and now this is a sequel to the requel.
Okay. Do we have any? Are you done with
Oh,
your
okay.
facts?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so before we give our final scores, now a lot of us ruined this, but we're going to guess how good we thought it was based on what the critics said. So we're going to turn it into our segment called Rotten Estimato, where I ask Abby and Brendan to guess what they think the tomato meter score is. How accurate are they as critics compared to the general consensus? Problem is, Brendan already saw the critics one.
Yeah, to be fair, it's on Fandango, so it's like when you book a fucking movie, it just tells you what the score is. But
Yeah.
it only shows
And I don't
you.
have any friends, so
true.
I had to book all my movies.
Did he pay me back for the one that I booked? Let's wonder that. Do you didn't see the audience though, right?
No, I didn't see an audience.
That's almost honestly.
All right.
I think that's more interesting for
It's
some of these.
way harder to predict.
Yeah.
So what do you?
Yeah.
I got it pulled up right in
Okay,
front
so
of me.
I'm the only one guessing critics. It was good. I mean, they gotta like it. I'm gonna say the 87% critics. Now let's talk audience. Let's talk about the yous and me's of the world, the Joes and Janes, the Jims
find
and
one.
Jamals. I'm gonna say that audience wise, it's got to be a little lower because you're just getting everybody out there. This got the kids farting in the back. Did they like it? I don't know. So I'm gonna say audience is gonna be at a 79. That's gonna be my guess.
So am I doing? I know the critics, so I'm just doing audience,
Yeah,
right?
do
Okay,
audience.
yeah, audience. I think it's going to be 87.
Yeah,
Audience.
he said it.
Audience 87.
Critics is 81 and audience is 86.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Call me Sally and slap my ass. That's wrong. I was.
Forgot to do this last time. Well, we couldn't because we didn't have an audience score for Trap yet, which is mind-bogglingly like over 50%. I
don't wanna talk about it.
Violent Nature, we were talking about because they are more unpredictable. Finding those ridiculous negative reviews that clearly are, very dumb people are driving these things in certain directions. But this one just says, what a complete steaming pile of poop. This has to be the worst film of this franchise, and its popularity is mind-boggling.
What the fuck? What is this guy's name?
So
I'm
let
not
me
even
be the-
Dumbass.
I'm not even
McGee?
like, oh, it's weird to not like that movie, but to say that it's bad compared to the other Alien movies, it's like it's similar.
So let me be the first to be honest, so that others may find the courage to also be honest.
Ah,
No way should you waste time or money seeing this poor excuse for an Alien movie.
love it.
Still, nothing will beat Medicare at best.
Medicare at best. That is the other shirt that we're gonna make. Medicare at best. All right, let's do our scores.
Yeah, I gave it a, and I don't. I
An
need,
A. We're not doing
No,
letter rankings.
I gave it a 9.0 hybrid alien mommy milker lactations.
Oh, mommy milker.
9.0?
Wow.
9.0. It's just the most. I was
That's
so
a big
giddy.
boy.
I
God,
had a
milk.
big
I'm
smile
happy
on
for
my
you.
face.
My
I don't think
God.
it's not the best movie we've seen by any means. It's just the one I
Dude,
think
did you like it more when you saw the Mommy Milkers?
It's the first one where I'm like,
that's
if
true.
somebody wants to go see it tomorrow, I want to go watch it again and again.
Okay, be totally honest. When you saw the milking scene, how much did the score go up?
Did you say, Mom? Don't
Was
look
it
at
an,
me right
was
now.
it an
I will shit
8.6
you
and then
not.
it popped up to 9.0 and other things popped up as well?
Well,
And we talking pantalones.
not some corn. But no, I legitimately.
No, be
did-
serious.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
That once I realized he was taking it to he's gonna breastfeed.
I
on
didn't
her
even
new-
realize that till his podcast. By the way, I really didn't think that was.
Well,
what was
I think
happening.
only if I was because I was expecting
How much
something.
of a perv would you be if you're wrong?
Yeah.
If I look it up and it's like, no, he just ate her.
Yeah. Out.
Well,
What
now
is
I'm
the
like, fuck, dude.
what-
Were there no mommy milker things at all? And I just want to milk some mommies. What's going on?
Folks, he watched this movie next to his mother. Let's remember that.
which made it so much hotter.
I'm pretty sure my mom would be endeared to the term mommy milkers.
All right. So
All of our families are different.
So,
And
Brendan,
the
what
next
did you
episode
think?
about Sigmund Freud and
8.7 little tiny goo balls.
That's pretty high too. You get
Well, the reason I predict audience score 87 was because that's
You
how
are
I
the
felt about it.
audience.
That's how I felt
I
about it.
represent
So
the
I represent the
world.
audience. I represent all the
a
audience
big
across
boy.
the world. And thank you guys so much for coming out.
Thank you
This was
so
our
much.
14th
Okay,
episode.
It's my turn. It's the 10th, 11th episode.
Thank you, guys.
And I'm going to give this movie an 8.0. I liked it. Y'all are going wild, but
can
I liked it.
confirm it then returns to breastfeed from Kay because the serum has caused her body to secrete a sticky substance.
Okay, good for you, Mommy Milker Boy.
Yeah, it would be weird if you just imagined that
Sorry.
scene.
I meant to say I give it an 8.0. I mean, now I can't be crass because you were about as crass as one can be.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I'm going to give it
this-
8.0. Little cutie little dog face hugger guy. The little
I just
dog
can't
face.
believe this Business
cutie.
Insider article is inexplicably absent of the term mommy milkers.
What? That's crazy,
Yeah,
dude.
no way, dude. Seriously?
Okay, wait.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much. We
Thank you
love
guys.
so much.
2 men and a baby.